start, where would I put the heel and lace pads? If she were an athlete.
Heel on both sides of the foot.
Yeah, so the heel, and then both sides.
Not there.
Yeah. I split it in half, put half on this side and half on that side.
You're
Then we
just
put
not
the
doing it
pre-rep
for-
on. Does it matter where the pre-rep goes? I mean, so do it just like you do the ankle or the beginning of the ankle. We're just not going to go way up her leg. And ideally, if we can go a little bit below the top of the foot, that's better, so you have a little bit of room for the tape to attach directly to the skin. Even better yet would be not using this. But why is it so quiet?
So focused.
Respectful
But
students.
why? I'm not used to that. Right, so the first thing that we apply is what?
Anchors.
So we're going to apply the anchors. We're going to go along the contour of her foot, so it's not flat. I'm not forcing it to go perpendicular to her foot or parallel to the ground. We're going to go at the angle that her foot gives us. We want to be as high on the foot as we can without being on the toes. So you can see we're a little bit directly on the skin, and we're just laying this down. It's an arch, or it's an anchor. We don't need it to be really, really tight. In fact, we want it to be looser rather than tighter. When her foot hits the ground, when she's walking or running, the toes are going to spread out and make this seem even tighter than it is right now. So we need it to be really loose. So notice I pulled the tape out enough so I can just wrap it around and lay it down without having to pull anymore. So the next thing I would do would be
What'd she say?
what should we do next? Somebody who's actually in the class? Right, the A to A, B to B strips. So if we say this is A and that's B, you can do it the other way around if you want, doesn't really matter. And we're going to make sure she's still at 90 degrees. Make sure she's not inverted or everted. We want her really neutral. Start on the side of the foot, go back around behind the heel, and then we bring the tape back to the vicinity that we started. It's not going to be exactly in the same spot, but in the vicinity. So kind of A to A-ish. We're just going to start on this side, bring it around so it ends on that side. We're going to do the B and go the opposite side. Remember that really important is how high the tape is behind the heel. It needs to be below the malleolus, but above the wide spot of the heel. So the wide spot of her heel is probably right around there. I need it to be in that little space right in here. So we did A, then we're going to do the B. We're going to alternate and do that for most people. How many times?
3.
3 times. And the idea is to do what? Cover the arch. So to do that, I'm going to have to change my angle a little bit. I'm going to start about the same spot, but I'm going to change my angle just a hair, and that's going to allow me to overlap a little bit underneath. We're alternating side to side, because that's going to add a little bit more strength. If we did all of one side and all the other, it would work, but the fact that we have this mesh overlapping gives us additional strength without any more tape. All right, we have our 3 A to A, B to B strips. Along those. Then what's next? Right, arch supports. So these, remember, they help support the arch by preventing your toes from going too far forward when you step down. So that's one way of helping maintain the arch. Now we're going to help maintain the arch by actually physically pulling up on it. This too is going to take a little bit of detail to make sure we're doing it exactly right. The strips, I mean, it seems pretty basic, we're just applying a strip underneath the arch, but where we go from, how we pull, where we end is going to be important. So we're going to start, if you remember, kind of right on top of the foot, overlapping probably to where the first toe is, maybe a little bit to the second, but we don't want to go all the way across. We're going to go right where the first anchor was, and then I'm going to bring it around over the top of the foot. Again, I don't want to be really compressive, I'm just, this first one, just kind of laying it down. Once we get away from the ball of the foot, we're going to overlap half the width, and now I can start applying more tension. So I'm going to start about the same spot. I'm not going to really pull too hard right now, because that's just going to compress the foot. That's not supporting the arch. So I don't have enough tape to come around, so I'm going to pull out a little bit more, lay the tape down. When I get to where the big toe is, and the tape's coming around, then I can pull up. And that's the key. I want to pull up to support the arch. I'm not trying to pull around that way, it just compresses the foot. Or I'm not pulling from here, because it just inverts the foot and compresses it. So I have it kind of gentle, then I'm pulling up as hard as I can, keeping that tension when I tear the tape, and laying it down right over, kind of, again, in line with the big toe. So we'll do a couple of those, so you can see when you finish up. So again, I'm just kind of laying it down, I'm not pulling, I get to the inside of the foot, I'm pulling up as hard as I can. Slide down. So if you look where the tape is, I'm starting here and ending there. I've got this trough in the middle that's wide open, and that's what we want. I can't have it end on the sides because it won't stay, and if I have it end crossing over the top, then I'm compressing. I'm really trying to pull up. Just like that. So we're going to overlap half the width. It's another mistake people make, they don't overlap enough. And I'm pulling up towards her. I'm laying it down right over the top of the foot. I'm going to go as high up into the arch as I can, where I can still kind of bring it around. I don't want to go up the sides. It's not really going to support. Then I apply something, let me slow down one more time. So you can see that we've just kind of gone and let that trough in the middle, so I need to hold it in place. If I didn't put anything to hold it in place, as soon as you took a step, it would split apart. So again, just overlapping half the width. And just applying some strips right over the top, connecting both sides of those anchors. That looks like it's good. And that's all there is to it. If I want to get rid of that extra pre-wrap on the top, I can. But other than that, that's the procedure. Just a couple of different strips. No big turns, like no big figure eights or anything, so it should be pretty straightforward.